Hi, this is Chris from ABOUT ITONICS, and today I'll be showing you how to quickly set up your ideation campaigns with the help of generative AI and how to streamline your ideation processes to evaluate ideas and to increase the participation within your ideation campaigns all in one collaborative platform. Within ABOUT ITONICS, we have the possibility to set up multiple different campaigns. Now, these campaigns are the buckets in which you host your ideation activities, meaning that users can contribute by submitting ideas into these campaigns. The first step would be to actually create such a campaign. Now, let's create a campaign together. We can simply go to Create, select the campaign, and the first thing that we need to do is decide, okay, what type of campaign do we want to run? For this purpose, we offer certain blueprints that have different purposes. So in this case, what we can do is we can create a campaign that will follow the design thinking approach, or a campaign that will help you funnel your ideas from a large pool of ideas and drill down and select only a few that will come out of the end of that funnel. Let's use the idea funnel template. Now, what you see is the phases that we recommend that a campaign should go through. So submission, concept development, implementation, and run. And we can then decide to use that template. Now what I need to do is I of course need to enter a title and the topic that I want to use this campaign for. So the topic in which I want to ideate. Let's take a simple example, cities of tomorrow. So just enter your headline, write a short description, and what you can then do is you can actually use our generative AI features to autofill information for your campaign, meaning to take the inputs that you've provided, the title and the summary, and to substitute it or to add on top of that with a more elaborate description with the power of generative AI. So let's click on Create a Draft and see what it comes up with. Now, in order to actually use these features, we need to first choose the template which will help us to kind of create the description for that campaign. So I would recommend to use the golden circle in this case. So we want to tell our users, okay, why are cities of tomorrow relevant? How should we approach this campaign? And what is expected if you participate in this campaign? So let's use the golden circle and let's define the target audience for this campaign. So this could be employees of a building company. Press Create and wait for the magic to happen. Now this is what the tool has come up with. A tailored description based on the generic and quite honestly, not too broad of an input that I've provided. So I can use this description or regenerate a new one and maybe fine tune the input parameters or the actual methodology behind how this description has been crafted. For the time being, we'll use this one. And as soon as I've pressed continue and added the description, what will now also be done by this automatic wizard is it will suggest certain tags that can in turn again be used by users to find campaigns based on tags within the tool. And I as a user can decide which ones of those I want to keep. Challenges is a bit too generic. Urban development is all right. Perfect. Insert those tags. And then what I can also do is I can make it visually appealing because of course, if I want people to participate, it needs to look nice somewhat. So I can also use generative AI in order to create a header image or an image for my actual campaign. What I can do is I can use a template. So cities of tomorrow, let's use the futuristic style. And I want to see tall buildings in the style of New York. Now, as soon as I've pressed this, I'll get some suggestions and I can then just choose those suggestions or regenerate new suggestions. So this one looks quite neat. So I'll choose that one, select it, apply it, and that will automatically be saved to my element as the new background image. Now, as soon as we've done that, there's certain different things that we can do. Is we can define, for instance, the type of campaign, because of course we've only published this campaign as a draft. So actually not published it, but saved it as a draft. So I can define, is this a campaign that should be running always, or does it have a certain time frame in which we want to run it? So we'll just keep this on. I can choose a start date. So I could say, okay, tomorrow. An end date, don't really need that because we've chosen the always on type. I can now add myself as a campaign manager. And I can add a group of evaluators that could evaluate all the ideas in the campaign to ensure that all my ideas will also be evaluated by subject matter experts. And then that's it. I've got all the baseline information. I've not had to do a lot of work because most of it has been taken care of by the Gen AI capabilities that we have in the tool. The only thing that I needed to provide are the surrounding parameters, so we're ready to go. So I can set the campaign to published and also start it. So as soon as I'm ready to start my campaign, after introducing all the surrounding parameters, after the help of generative AI capabilities, I can simply go on start. And now that I've started my campaign, you can see that my campaign will now become active, and I have the big fat submit idea button that can be used by any user within the tool. Now, users can submit ideas by very simply just adding a quick overview, title and summary of the idea. And what they can then do is they can actually add additional information and describe the idea further by using the same generative capabilities that we have done in order to create the campaign. Now, what we'll do now is, in order to get a starting point, we'll actually use another helpful feature, which is the auto generation of ideas. Because of course now you can see that my submissions are empty. So what I can do is in my smart actions for my campaign, in order to kick it off, I can use the auto create idea feature. Now the auto create idea feature allows me as a campaign manager to create a base set of ideas for my campaign, again, using generative AI. The first thing that I need to do is I need to define the industry in which these ideas should be placed. So we're talking about cities of tomorrow, so let's use the building industry. And who will benefit most from it? Well, presumably the people that live in the cities, so city citizens. Press and create, and I wait for it to do its magic. Now, after a short wait, the system will automatically generate ideas based on the initial input that we have on my campaign, so the title, the abstract, and the auto-generated details. And as you can see, I've got 5 ideas now that I can use as a starting point. So smart waste management systems, urban mobility hubs, urban vertical farm towers, and I can start basically pushing these ideas through my process. And as you can see, this is another feature of our ideation module. Each campaign has its own Kanban board that will show all of the ideas. Now, each individual that has created an idea can also see which phase this idea is on the individual idea profile. So this is the idea profile for one of the ideas that we have let the system automatically generate. And as you can see, I can see that currently it's in the submission phase, dictated by the campaign blueprint, by the campaign template that we have given and provided. And what I can do now is I can jump from the details to the workflow, which will show me exactly what is expected from me as an idea submitter. So in the submission phase, I'm asked to fill out the idea form. And then if I am the campaign manager, I actually have the right to then also say, okay, I've initially reviewed this idea and decided to move it to the next phase. And the same works for the next process step. So in the concept development stage, I again have a set of tasks, a set of actions that I need to undertake in order to further curate and develop the idea and funnel it through our process. Now, there's of course not a lot of information on this idea. So what I can again do as a submitter of the idea, I can use the auto-generate features to also add a further description for this particular idea. So I'll again use maybe the idea canvas this time as a method, a template method, and then define that the target audience for this should be waste the management companies. This would enable me as an idea submitter to further elaborate on my idea, maybe using the help of certain generative AI concepts, because I might not have the time to do it myself, or I might only have a limited amount of input that I can provide. In addition, the actual evaluators of campaign can then start rating all of the ideas that we have based on a subset of ratings that are included in the campaign templates. So the customer benefit, if we're talking about product development, the complexity of developing something like this, the disruptive potential, and I can start rating all of these criteria, which in turn will of course also allow me to kind of compare all of my ideas to one another. Now, we've taken again a look at the individual level, so at an idea profile or a campaign profile. So let's look at all of the ideas that we currently have in the system. For this purpose, we can again make use of the matrix and go to our idea portfolio. So after getting an overview of all of my ideas on this portfolio view, on this matrix view, where I'm basically comparing them on the evaluations provided by the subject matter experts per campaign, what I might want to do is, okay, how do these ideas maybe tie into the rest of the system? So how are they related to other information objects that we track in the tool? So for instance, what projects could be influenced by ideas that we have, or what technologies are influencing ideas that we have currently running within the funnels of each individual campaign. For this purpose, I can use our network graph and basically again visualize the connections in between the different types of information. So if I go to my network graph, of course I'll be seeing everything. So what I can now do is I can define, okay, only show me my trends, for instance, my projects, my technologies, and most importantly, my ideas that are related to one another. Thereby, I can create a visualization of all of the ideas marked in light blue. So for instance, advanced filtering, and what trend or technology it is related to, and where we might have an overlap, or where we can see that there are clusters of ideas that might pay into the same topic. Now, we've been talking about Itonics ideation, and the great thing about this particular Itonics product is that, of course, it seamlessly integrates with the Itonics Foresight and Itonics portfolio products. So we could use our trend or technology scouting activities in order to dictate the topics into which we want to ideate, and the other way around, we can use the campaigns in order to create, curate, and evaluate ideas that we want to in turn hand over into our project portfolio that we want to use within our portfolio management activities.